I'm Liz Larson.
And I'm Bill McKenna.
And together, we created the Cognomovement system. And we'd like to welcome you to the New Life Perspectives radio show,
where we're going to be sharing with you tools, tips, and ideas that are going to change your life.
Hello, hello in UK Health Radio Land. I'm Liz Larson, and I'm here with my friend,
Bill McKenna.
Hey, Bill McKenna. And we are the duo behind the New Life Perspectives radio show here on UK Health Radio. And we just happen to be the duo that also created the Cognomovement systems. And we're really excited. We have a special guest today, Melissa Tittl, who has a special role at the Gaia TV. It's not Gaia TV, it's Gaia.com, right?
Yes, it's Gaia.com.
But we're actually here to talk about the Gaiasphere. And Melissa Tittl is producing a really incredible series of what do you call it, Melissa? A series of speakers, right? An event, a very special event. I think my brain just lost its way for a minute. And so you're producing it, correct? You used to be the head of content at Gaia. Yeah, which is amazing. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Some of the things that the content that she was a big part of. And now you own Hathor Studios, correct?
Correct.
And are producing this event. The event is called Emersion, correct?
Yes, it's a transformational conference. It's the first that Gaia has done. Gaiasphere, so Gaia is a couple of things, right? We have this network where we cover everything from meditation and transformation, and we got some alien stuff in there and some different ways of thinking type stuff. But we also have an actual auditorium that we call Gaiasphere, and this is where we have events that we not only sell tickets for, where speakers come and do presentations, but we also do a live stream that you can join. Anybody can join and be part of the live stream from anywhere in the world. We are in over 80 countries, and so this is the first where we have 8-9 voices. We have a whole weekend of transformational speakers. So this is really exciting.
It's really cool. I didn't realize this was the first event of its kind. So speakers have presented from the Gaiasphere in the past, live and virtually as well, but this is the first time it's this many altogether.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. So here's our big question, Bill's and mine. Why is this important to do right now? Why did Gaia, coordinating with you, decide to do this now? What's important? Well,
there's a couple of reasons. Even if there was restrictions, if you will, some of that is lifting in our country, but I think we would have still done the conference at this time, and that's because 2020 was this halt, if you will, to everybody's life. 2021, everyone thought was going to be amazing, but it was still kind of this like bumpy road back to everyone's trying to get back to some kind of normal, but the normal is changing. And so this is a great time that we feel, especially in the spring, close to the solstice, of allowing a lot of transformational voices to help people on this journey. I think a lot of people that are in this space have thought to themselves, you know what, I can't go back. That normal, that whatever I called normal before, I actually cannot return to, which means I'm on another path. And I think getting all these voices together to help with that process and on your personal path of whatever that is now going forward, this is an excellent time to start that into 2022.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Bill and I are doing exactly the same thing. We know that people can't go backwards. We can't go backwards. We're changed. We're different now. And actually, our good friend Bill McKenna here, our very own, will be speaking at this event. So, Bill, how do you feel like you're adding to that conversation?
Well, first of all, I just an honor and a privilege to be able to to have a platform like this to be able to share globally with the world some of the work to help people to transform. I think people are not aware of some real basic things that we have discovered. One of them being that everyone has a driving force in them that is causing them to feel, act, and believe a certain way. And globally right now, there's two predominant emotions, fear and anger. Everybody is either very afraid or very angry or both. And this all ties back to something really basic, and that is a core sensation in their body. They actually aren't aware of it, but there is a feeling somewhere in their body that they wake up, they go to sleep, and they feel it somewhere in their body. And as the wonderful Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is on Gaia, has a great series there. We think thoughts equal to our feeling. Well, our feeling is driven by a sensation. When you're afraid, you don't even realize it, but you have a core place in your body that is a driver. So what I'm going to share on that whole journey is the discovery of this sensation and how to eliminate it. If you eliminate the sensation, so too goes your belief. And globally right now, we got to get ourselves out of fear and anger. It is driving everybody to do the outlandish, ridiculous things that are going on, and no one is unaffected. We've really learned that now as the human species, that nobody's divorced from this. Nobody gets away. We're all affected by each other, and these you name it, fill in the blank.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Melissa, do you feel like that's the driver, is to get people out of that feeling state of fear, pain, distraction? Do you think that's the driver behind many of the messages that we'll hear during this event, the Immersion event?
Yes. And Bill, we are so excited to have you, because you're not only are you speaking to what people need to do, but you're going to be offering a lot of tools. And I think, at Gaia, we have a lot of programming. We have acquired documentaries, we have original content, we have people coming to talk on talk shows about this stuff. But this is unique because we are offering all the tools. We are going to give you these speakers who are going to take you through this journey of helping you get to the next level, but then the tools. So when you leave this conference, you will have all the gifts you need to be like, okay, I'm getting stuck again. I'm back in that fear mode. Another thing, and Bill, I think you said this, but the thing is, we cannot escape it. You could be living in an ashram or in a cave and meditating, and as soon as you go outside and somebody knocks over your bowl of nuts, you're upset again. The thing is, you're never going to escape all these emotions. So how do you have the tools to get to the next step you need so that you can turn over faster and move on faster? And that is the progression of humanity. That's the next step in humanity, is to not only have the wisdom to understand what's happening, but the tools to keep yourself on the right path.
I mean, that couldn't be more true, right, Bill?
God, you're so eloquent. I mean, you just right to the point. It was really, really good. I love the way you put that. I am so excited about as well. One of the secret here is that I get to be there. And after I'm done talking, I get to listen to all these other people. I'm so excited. I love all of them. You got all these. Tell me about your favorites. I know before our break, maybe just one or two of your favorites, because you have a behind the scenes look at what's going to happen. So tell us about some of the people that are going to be there.
Yes. So we're going to have Michael Beckwith, Marianne Williamson, Saha Simone, who's going to walk everybody through like a dancing meditation, Carolyn Corey, who's done a lot of Netflix, or she's done a lot of documentaries for Netflix, but she's specifically talking about the new, this kind of idea that the new normal, like what that means scientifically for consciousness. And we have lots of other people. So I was just picking off some, and then of course, Bill McKenna is going to be there.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's really exciting. One of my friends as well, who we love, Cindy Dale, who is
Cindy
the
Dale,
chakra lady, and has all these books about your energy system. It's going to be so fun.
Anita Morajani will be there. Yeah.
My gosh. Now, Anita, what a gift to humanity that her near-death experience was. Just to be in her presence and hear her tell about that. I mean, that alone is just worth it to come.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it myself. Actually, I'm going along with Bill, and so is our business manager, Leah. We'll all be attending together. And the idea of getting to experience one speaker after another, and hearing, I can just imagine the energy building around these positive messages that will be coming. I mean, that's really exciting because we're bombarded. I think, one of you were saying you can't get away from it. We can't escape the news. More than that, though, there's this feeling on the planet. Have you noticed that yourself? The energy has changed. Just even the days seem different. So many people are saying, I don't know if this even feels like real life, but it's not just our minds, but we feel different. Have you noticed that as well?
I have. I think it goes back to the whole thing that to move forward, we cannot go back to what was happening on a personal. I'm talking to each person on a personal level. There is a lot of things happening in the world. There's always a lot of things happening in the world. But I think on a personal level and an individual level, millions and billions of people are having a shift. And whatever that means, whether it's little, whether it's huge, whether it's whatever area of their life they have to look at, it's definitely changed. But I think one thing that I've talked to all the speakers about as producing this is that how do we make this about the individual changing the whole? There's lots of books written on how to change, consciousness and communities and all that kind of stuff, which is fantastic. And we're definitely going to talk about this in this 2-day weekend. However, it's about the individual being able to change and being able to talk to their neighbor, and their neighbor being able to, it's about the individual changing so we can change the whole. And I know that's something we're going to focus on this weekend. But I also think that that's what's happening on a collective, is everybody individually is changing and therefore the collective is changing. And I think sometimes there's these concepts of these overlords telling us what to do all the time. Well, that's true if we aren't understanding why we have emotions, why we think the thoughts that we do, then yes, then you are subject to whoever is telling you what to do and feel and think. But I think on an individual level that is changing. Everybody across the planet is starting to think, wait, I don't know if I believe that, and this is why. And although there's a lot of chaos that seems to be happening in the world, as long as it's for the betterment of humanity, that is going to happen if people are having individual thoughts. But it's about building a better community by understanding how the universe works and how to be in control of your thoughts and your emotions.
I think this is such perfect timing, like you said, the now of this event, because if we can just put our attention back on that kind of growth individually, I mean, we have been distracted, our attention's been everywhere, but an event like this really brings us back into that richness that happens when you start to grow, when you start to develop, when you start to change. And Bill and I we're working on this daily with the groups and our practitioners, that you can start to actually become more of who you really are. You can really start to expand. And as you expand yourself, we're seeing everyone around us expand. Exactly what you're saying, that personal growth and development, that putting your attention back on your own consciousness changes everyone, every being around you, or even if they're thousands miles away. So let's take a break. We'll hear from our sponsors at UK Health Radio. And when we'll come back, we're going to talk about one of Bill's favorite Gaia series that Melissa was very involved in. So UK Health Radio, take it away. And we're back. Okay, Bill, what did you want Melissa to talk about in this segment? One of your favorites.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't, so people around the world are listening to this right now. And, I never in my life believed in aliens or UFOs. I thought that was all, that's just a bunch of malarkey, and where's the evidence, right? Where is the, you show me, there's got to be somebody out there, who's got something. Well, oh my God, I'm, have a subscription to Gaia.com. If you don't got one, get one. Just for this one thing only. Melissa, I, clicked on it and it was these mummies that were found in Peru. Mm-hmm. And what do you know? They found these alien mummies, real deal, all the scientific evidence. And oh my God, it looks, some of them are so, that ET, ET von Hom, that whole thing that anyway, it's absolutely remarkable. All I can say is you will not be able to control yourself from binge watching this. But Melissa, I was so stoked when I saw you and you did this entire series. It must have been just like an out-of-body experience how did all this happen? Tell us about it. And how did you must have been like, oh my God, this can't even be happening. Tell us about what happened.
Well, I should preface by saying that I always focus on being a journalist first. So nothing really surprises me. I've been in foreign countries. I've done shows, not for Gaia, but I've done shows where I've gotten shot at, like it was dangerous, So when they asked me to go down to Peru, I was, part of my adrenaline was pumping, but I saw the pictures of this mummy. There was only a couple at first, 2 mummies. And I thought, it looks kind of fake, but whatever, because it has this white dust on it. And you're thinking like, it's like a paper mache thing that they put together.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing is like, I'm always trying to keep like a really level view on everything, because I don't actually think that I can write a story or actually understand what's going on if I'm getting my emotions involved. Speaking of emotions, right? Right. So I go down there and it's the documentary kind of explains it a lot, but there's it's a bunch of dodgy characters. But they showed me the big body. So the big body is like, I don't know, maybe 5 feet, 5.5 feet. It's a full body that's kind of in a fetal position, right? But the body, I got to touch it, it's like skin. It's actual, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I mean, it looks weird. It looks exactly, it has 3 fingers, it has 3 toes. So then we went into data modes. We brought a bunch of scientists down. We tested the skin and the bone in 3 different countries. So Mexico, St. Petersburg, and Canada. And all the evidence came back the same. All the pieces, we took from several parts of the body, because, some of the feedback was, someone just put these these apparatuses on, and they're from different body parts and all sorts of things, like they melted down animal skin, and as a journalist I went and I asked all those questions. I'm like, as a taxidermist, can you melt a bunch of other animals' skin together to make one skin? And they're like, are you crazy? And I'm like, I don't know, people say it could happen, so I asked. So we got it tested, and we found out that all the parts of the body, we took it from 5 different parts of the body, all of them match. So the fingers, the toes, the torso, the head, the neck, the back, the front, everything, all is part of the same genetic code, the same body. However, 20% of the makeup of the DNA was considered, it matched to biological organisms on this planet. None of that 20% matched to any human genome on this planet, which is quite interesting. Now, it didn't match to any animal either. So 20% of that DNA definitely had a match to Earth, but it didn't match any human genome or animal.
Oh my God.
It was pretty fascinating. And it took like over a year, because DNA processing takes a long time. You have to do a lot of samples, and there's also the contamination factor, which then you have to take more samples, because then you have to weigh the contamination factor. But even after all that, we still couldn't find an actual match to the current human genome on this planet, which is fascinating.
So exciting.
Wow. And just so I'm, as an audience, right? You're saying, well, okay, there's this being or something that's a mummy. Well, there were 3 fingers and 3 toes, and these fingers and toes from the documentary, they looked to me, they were super long. They were like, I don't know what, maybe 3 hand lengths, or like, oh, you know how E.T. had them big long fingers like that? That was it. It was really that. And he had the mouth was super small. There were hardly any ears, just like maybe a little hole. Mm-hmm. And the head was like elongated. So it was definitely ain't from here. It was surreal.
I have a question go ahead. Sorry, Melissa.
Go ahead. No, I'm just going to talk about that, because so there's just so much information. I hadn't opened my brain and thought about that project in so long that I was like, oh my God. So we had, we took x-rays, we took CAT scans, we brought them to scientists all over the world, including the United States. And, first glance, number one, all the bones are biological. They can tell that from an x-ray. In the high-res CAT scans, you can see that none of the bones were manipulated. There wasn't any digits chopped off. The bones, definitely for the fingers and the toes, are very thick. So you can't see inside of your hand, but you have, your phalanges are little bones. They're not as big as what your fingers look like, but the bone made up most of the body, of the fingers. They were huge, but they couldn't find any place where someone had manipulated the bones, made them up, glued them together. They were all natural growth, and every part of it was biological.
So there wasn't just the one body, though. There were many bodies, some bigger, some smaller, right? Mm-hmm. And is it true that they weren't exactly even the same thing? There were bodies that were 2 different types of beings. Is that correct?
Yes. So the big one that I was talking about, it actually had, most of it was human. The torso. This person was not buried in a ceremonial way, even though they were kind of in a fetal position, like you would see mummies in Peru. But all the insides of the body were still there. So the torso was very human. But again, according to the genetic testing, all the same body. So it's some kind of, we would say in this space, a hybrid of some sort. But the other bodies, there's all these little bodies that to me, I just couldn't even wrap my head around. There's like these creatures. They're definitely bipedal, but they're more like reptilian looking. They were short, maybe like 2.5 feet tall. And they had more of like the typical gray alien face. They still had the 3 fingers and the 3 toes. Their body was, the joints were really huge, but again, biological. We had all that CAT scans and x-rays as well.
So one of the mummies, also the little short one, had I saw a metal plate in it. So did they do any sort of metallurgy on this, or it was really strange to see an implant?
Yeah, that was really weird. There was something like almost like a breastplate across one of the smaller creatures. Some kind of metal, if I remember correctly. They couldn't figure out what the metal was, but it looked like it was holding together, like keeping the chest up for some reason, like maybe there was an injury. The other thing was, one of them was pregnant and had several eggs. I think it was about 3 eggs. Those were also part of the CAT scan, and you could see inside one of the eggs. So, I mean, like, again, biological. So I don't know what it is, but it's definitely very fascinating. I have to say though, from, just a human perspective, and also like when I started talking about this, trying to stay really pragmatic and not jumping to conclusions that it's an alien, or, maybe it was a deformed human, or, but I could not wrap my head around the small ones because they just look so different. The other one was, human looking, except for the skull was elongated and the eye sockets were bigger. And yes, it was a little bit different, but for some reason I could sort of wrap my head around it. But the small ones, I just, even with all the CAT scans and the x-rays, it was so hard to say, okay, well, what is that? Because those are completely different. It's not even slightly different like the other one. These are a completely different species, if you will.
So let's put a pin in that for right now. Let's take a break and hear from the UK Health Radio. And I have a burning question about all of this when we come back. So UK Health Radio, take it away. And we're back. So I first have something I wanted to say about this. I have to say that when I saw this series on Gaia, I didn't know whether to be excited about it, whether it seemed real that it was even happening on the documentary, or to be in disbelief. So what was it like for you as a human being? I know as a journalist, you're being objective, waiting for the science to come back, but did it feel unreal, or did it feel like this was just a dream come true? How did it feel in the moment?
I mean, the moment it was super exciting. I mean, I love adventure and danger and, aliens, holy grail, whatever, It's like, let's go, let's do this. I love that. I feel like that's been most of my career, is just kind of finding stories like that to be part of. But it's funny because I'm currently in the process of filming a Discovery Plus show where I'm on camera and I am talking about aliens. It comes out this summer, and I am interviewing people about alien experiences. I'm not saying they're real. I'm just saying, is there a pattern here, type of thing. And
Yeah.
I have to say that I'm interested in this topic, and even the Peruvian mummies, because internally I feel that there is other life out there, and they have visited this planet. When, how they interact with us, I don't necessarily have all those answers, but I do feel that way. And I'm not even looking for justification that I'm going to find the right story to prove that. I feel that my job is to really investigate these stories, to let other people decide if this is what they believe is happening in the universe. Remember, it's not, I always think of my job as not on, although I enjoy all of it, right? Because I just enjoy the journey and the adventure. It's really not for me to find the truth. I think the truth is there. It's just, what do you believe as an individual? And how does that actually make you understand the universe better? I think that people always think meditation, transformation, aliens are completely on other ends of the spectrum. And I would say that's not true. I think that the more you understand what might exist beyond your own existence, you have expanded yourself. You have transformed your thinking. And I think that that's why somehow I get roped into all of it because that's the mission.
It's so exciting though, to have something like that physical that you can look at. Oh my gosh, I have all the questions. And I think that's the perspective that Bill and I come from too, is the more you can expand your awareness, your consciousness, the less you can be so hooked into all the ideas that we have. It has to be this way. Even that those things have to be alien. What if they were from the middle of the earth, or, some of these things that we think are mythical creatures?
Mm-hmm.
So the more that we can let go of our everyday ideas about things and just wonder, ask the question, what if it could be this? What if it could be that? But I got to say, having that physical thing right there to see and touch and experience, I mean, that had to have been mind blowing. Like, the thought of it really gets me going. I'd love to have been there. And so is that going to expand more? Is that story expanding further?
No, I think it's the last part of and if you watch the documentary, you can see this. But it was brought to the Peruvian Parliament. Of course, there's a Ministry of Culture there that was very upset about it. There's a bunch of rules, but nothing was really broken. So I think we wanted to make sure that it got itself into a university for further testing. But as far as our involvement, I mean, Gaia we're not really involved anymore. So we're hoping that somebody will take it and run with it further, but it needs to stay in Peru, or the bodies need to stay in Peru, and they need to be with the Peruvian scientists that are there.
Super interesting. Well, let's get back to talking about immersion. It's EMERSION, immersion, not immersion. Is that the whole name of the event?
Yes. So it's Immersion Conference. And they, I think because we didn't really want to call it Transformational Weekend at Gaia type of thing, I think they wanted to come up with something that basically allowed all these voices to create a transformational weekend, but, call it something different. But, I'm not a marketing person, so.
It's so interesting, though, the people that are collected there. So you've got, Michael Beckwith from the Agape Center, and you've got Marianne Williamson, who speaks so much about A Course in Miracles. And you've got Cindy Dale, who's talking about chakras and energy. And you've got Bill McKenna, who's talking about, the nervous system and changing things that way. And then, there's Matthias DeStefano, right? Who is talking about mind-blowing, mind-bending things, memories of many, many lifetimes, and so many of the secrets of the universe. So tell us a little bit more about that blending of, I think, very practical things to the mystical in this event.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think that when you really start to think about transformation, you almost automatically start to think of things outside of yourself, right? And that's what the tools are for. The tools are to bring you back into yourself and be able to realign all those systems that cause you to be out of alignment with, your other self, your soul, your spirit, your multidimensional, if you want to use that word, self, and how that structures itself in the universe. So when you get that, then you have Matthias isn't really I don't think he's necessarily going to bring in Atlantis in some of his past lives, but he is going to bring the knowledge of how to understand how the universe works so that you can go through this transformation together. And you know who's having a transformation right now? My dog, who's snoring really loudly. I'm not sure you can hear that. It's not me. I am not snoring. That's my pug, who's like 10, who's literally
so cute.
That must be right here snoring so loudly.
Actually, it's funny that you bring that up, because Transformation, I think the word has changed so much for all of us. I mean, for Bill and I, it really has. It used to be maybe for us in the past that might have meant meditation, and now it's about changing the nervous system. I mean, but it all goes to the same place, this awareness, this consciousness, being more aware of the world around you. So dogs, it seems like either we're becoming more in alignment with their thoughts, or they're being able to talk to us in our brains. I've noticed that everybody who has animals talks about this ability to really understand what it is their dog wants, or their cat. Have you experienced that too? That kind of upgrade in consciousness with your animals?
Yes, I have. I mean, I always thought we had a really good connection, but it just seems a little bit like, oh, you really don't like the food I've been feeding you. You'd like,
Yeah.
Warm chicken and, squash. Okay. All right. That works.
I know we've had that same transformation in our house. It seems like our dog knows how to tell us exactly what she wants. The other day, Bill and I were working, as we always do on Zoom, and she came in and just wanted her bed rearranged. And I came back in and thought, how am I being bossed by a small red dog? But somehow, and we find that in our transformation work, that's what's happening. There's more and more and more available on the planet. Are you finding that too in the work you're doing, not only with Gaia, but with your own Hathor Studios as well?
Yeah, I would say, because before I came to Gaia, I was working in mainstream. I've worked for everything from like Netflix, Discovery, History, Travel, all those networks. What I really loved about Gaia, and that is why I even ended up at Gaia, was that because these are conversations I wanted to start having, and I was sick of having these really boring, mundane, closed-minded, not making humanity better TV conversations, whether it's on camera or off camera. So coming to Gaia, I was like, these are the things I want to say in the world. This is what I would contribute to. But now I have to say, mainstream is catching up, because if we go back to that individual transformation, I think people are ready for that new narrative. I think that they just don't want to, they're like, okay, well, I could watch that show or those things that are good for, like, some kind of bad habit. But I think a lot of people are talking about this new narrative. And to me, a lot of people that I thought never would start talking about that are, and mainstream is catching up, and that's the kind of programming they're making. Now they're still making horror movies and stuff that necessarily doesn't fit into exactly what we're saying, but for me, having come from that world and now kind of going back to that world, they're opening up those doors. They're really talking about things like, what does it mean to be multidimensional on mainstream? And I never thought that would happen, considering how long I was in the industry before I got to Gaia. So exciting stuff.
You're right at the right place at the right time. This is awesome. God, I think I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again in public. I am so grateful for the work that you've done at Gaia, and that you have helped to transform humanity and help to bring it up. You've brought forward content from so many different people that didn't have a voice, didn't have a place to be seen. And here they're able to spread these positive messages and help people with their transformation and their evolution. So it was just, what a gift to humanity. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's for people like you that have the dedication to keep going and making sure that no matter what, you are going to get these messages out so that people can, there's that saying that you don't really know how you affect people. And especially, like yourself being a speaker, I mean, you do get gratifications because you hear from people, right, that their lives have changed from the work that you do. But a lot of them you don't hear about, but blindly that you are making a difference. And that's what your work is about. And that's the most important thing, because people all over the world are listening to you, and you might not all know them, but you are making a difference. And that's That's why we need people like you and other people are going to show up at this conference, and other people that I haven't even met yet, helping the individual become part of the new narrative.
Oh, love it. Love it. All right. Well, I think we're bumping up against the end here. Okay. So Liz Larson, come meet Liz Larson, come meet me, Gaiasphere, on the 19th and 20th. Liz has a link for you. You can get your tickets. If you can't make it, you're somewhere else in the world. Gaia has, if you go to Gaia.com, and they call it Events Plus, you can sign up there and get a subscription. And you can go to not only this event, but all kinds of other events virtually. Liz, what else?
Actually, just from Melissa. So if people are listening out there and they're going to come virtually, what time does it start? And we're on Central Time, right? They're going to start on Central Time. What time does the event start?
So Gaia, the actual live streaming, everything will be on Mountain Time. I believe the first one starts at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. But if you go on the Events Plus page, you will see a schedule for everybody and all their times for the 2 days. So just know it's on Mountain Time, no matter where you are in the world.
So for everybody, if you don't know how to spell Gaia, it's Gaia, Gaia.com, and you can find all the information. Will this be available for replay, or are people just watching it live?
So there's a couple things you can join. You can join the conference live streams. If you join Events Plus, then you can watch it on repeat. But it's not. You can't just buy the conference. It's more like investing in Events Plus, and then you can go back and view it. But there is an option just to join for the weekend and just to be part of the live event, and that's great too.
Watching it again would be really cool though, because if everyone's going to be teaching real tools, to be able to have that and go back and watch it would be pretty amazing. I mean, I know what Bill's going to be presenting will be life-changing, and I'm sure every speaker that's going to be true of. So it would be very, very cool to get a chance. So people around the world can attend virtually, and there may be at this point a few tickets left for live, but from what we understand, it's very, very close to being sold out. So if you're hearing this, you can check at Gaia.com, correct?
Yes.
To see if they can get a ticket live. And it's where? What city in Colorado?
Our auditorium, office, studio is all located in Boulder, Colorado. So it's a beautiful campus. If you wanted to make it, we're very close to. There's some great hotels, great downtown area in Boulder, and we have an international airport at Denver. So easy to fly in from anywhere, United States or any part of the world. And you're like 30 minutes from the airport, and you're also about 15 minutes from some really great hotels.
Well, and Colorado is such a beautiful place. If you've never been there and you want to see Colorado, now's the time. Plus, take in all these amazing, amazing speakers, transform your life. And if you want to, you get to meet Bill and I. So we'll see you guys all there. Thank you, Melissa, for the work you're doing on the planet. And thanks for being here with us today. And thank you so much for producing this incredible event. So the next time you have something amazing going on, will you come back and talk to us about it?
Of course. I will.
That would be great.
And I'm so thankful for what you guys do. And I'm excited to see you present and give people these new tools.
All right.
It's going to be really, really fun. Thanks for being here with us today, Bill McKenna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Melissa.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
You.
you.
Radio Land. We'll see you guys again next week. Thanks for being here with us on the New Life Perspective radio show. For more information or to find out more about the work that Bill and I do, please visit us at cognomovement.com or email us at info@cognomovement.com. See you again soon.